Hello everyone and welcome to the NinjaTrader webinar room. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to test audio and video. So if you can hear my voice and you can also see the picture I'm displaying in the room, go ahead and enter a Y into the chat room now. Alright, thank you for confirming that for me. My name is Patrick and I work as a NinjaTrader customer support representative here at our Denver, Colorado offices, and I'll be leading today's session. I'd like to thank you all for joining today's Charting Level 1 event. NinjaTrader is a free application for advanced charting, market analytics, automated strategy development, and trade simulation. We only charge for our product if and when you decide to trade live through any of our over 100 supported brokers worldwide. At this time, I'd like to take a poll. This is do you currently use NinjaTrader, so please press the green 1 if you're a free license user, press the red 2 if you're a lifetime license holder, and press that orange 3 if you're leasing a lifetime license or leasing a live license key, and press that blue 4 if you're not yet using NinjaTrader. While everyone is filling out the poll questions, I would like to announce that NinjaTrader has created new premium paid educational events where you will join a NinjaScript expert for a pair of 6 to 4 hour long intensive courses designed to provide you with an in-depth training on how to create, test, and deploy fully automated strategies. If you've ever wanted to learn C# NinjaScript programming, then take a look at the Introduction to NinjaScript Development course syllabus at the following link. You can also create and backtest fully automated strategies without any custom programming in NinjaTrader. This is taught in our strategy creation for non-programmers. You can find that syllabus at the following link as well. So first link there is NinjaScript development. The next one coming in will be the strategy development for non-programmers. NinjaTrader also has an extensive network of third-party trading educators and add-on providers, and if you have not done so already, we would suggest you check out all of our partners on the NinjaTrader website. You can find our educators and third-party add-on providers from the following links. Take a quick moment to review our poll results in the room. And I see we have, we're pretty much tied here for our free license users and lifetime license users, so I'm really glad to see you all joining us here today. And then we have one user in the room who's not yet using NinjaTrader. If you're not yet using NinjaTrader, I'd like to invite you to download NinjaTrader now so you can follow along with today's webinar. As I mentioned before, NinjaTrader is a free application for advanced charting, market analytics, automated strategy development, and trade simulation. Now, we only charge for our product if and when you decide to trade live through any of our over 100 supported brokers worldwide. You can view our subscriptions page to view your options for purchasing and leasing NinjaTrader. If you have any questions on purchasing or leasing NinjaTrader, you can always send a note to sales@ninjatrader.com. We have great staff there willing to answer any questions you may have on purchasing or leasing NinjaTrader. We also provide free weekly partner introduction events so you can learn more about our partners. And David Bean of Capstone Trading Systems will be conducting a webinar on developing a portfolio of trading systems. This will be at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Thursday, April 4th. Please join this event to learn more about their products and services, and you can visit the NinjaTrader website at the following link to learn more about that event, as well as Capstone Trading Systems. If you'd like to view our full schedule of ecosystem partner introduction events, you can do so at the following link. And again, these are free weekly partner introduction events. I would like to begin by giving a brief history of NinjaTrader, which was founded in July of 2003 and raised the bar for real-time trading applications when it pioneered the introduction of advanced trade management. Since then, each release has introduced powerful customer-driven enhancements. With the release of the current version, which is NinjaTrader version 7, this gives traders of stocks, futures, and Forex around the world the most innovative trading features in the industry. Multi-series charting, advanced system development, and backtesting, as well as our industry-leading order entry features, makes NinjaTrader a true end-to-end trading platform for traders of all levels. As I mentioned Before, I'll mention again, NinjaTrader is a free application for advanced charting, market analytics, automated strategy development, and trade simulation. We only charge for our product if and when you decide to trade live through any of our over 100 supported brokers worldwide. You can find our download page and our subscriptions page at the following link. Now, today's training event should last approximately 45 to 60 minutes. And during this time, we'll be covering the following topics. We're going to go through creating a chart. We're going to go over the chart display, take a look at the chart properties. We're going to be adding indicators. Once we have our chart set up the way we like, we're going to go through managing your chart templates. We're going to navigate through the charts, of course, and we're going to be using our drawing tools. We're also going to be trading through the chart trader near the end of the webinar as well. Now, you can find all of our training videos, our webinar series here on our YouTube channel, as well as that chart trader webinar is also recorded there. As we won't be going in depth with the chart trader, you can always find that chart trader webinar there. You can also find a full schedule of our upcoming online events at our product education link at the following link. I would like to note that NinjaTrader is not a data provider or a broker. Therefore, you will need to connect to one of our supported data feed providers. NinjaTrader supports equities, futures, and Forex markets. Additionally, I'd like to provide you with a link covering the type of data these individual providers offer. I'd also like to note that Kinetic has been designed to be the optimal market data feed for the NinjaTrader 7 platform, and it is free for end-of-day data for stocks, futures, and Forex. So if you've downloaded NinjaTrader for free, you can connect to NinjaTrader or to Kinetic end of day to receive daily data end of day, so day, week, month, and year, absolutely for free. Now, streaming real-time quote service with Kinetic starts as low as $50 a month, and you can even have your CME exchange fees waived with a qualified brokerage account. Please visit the Kinetic website for more information. And before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone this is an interactive webinar, so I invite all of you to ask questions as we work through today's topics. I would like to note that to ask that we keep the questions to the topic we're currently discussing, as this will ensure we're able to maintain the flow of the webinar. Now, if at any time during the webinar a question is asked that's beyond the scope of today's session, I may refer you to send a note to support@ninjatrader.com. Currently, we have a full staff of NinjaTrader representatives to promptly answer any questions you may have. During our normal operating hours, which are 8:30 a.m. until 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, you should receive a response within 15 minutes. However, even after our normal office hours, we have members of our staff working diligently to answer your questions. So if you're ever in need of assistance, don't hesitate to contact us, and you'll be sure to get a response before the beginning of the next day. All right, before we get started, one last item here. We're going to paste a few more helpful links into the room that you may want to bookmark with the internet browser. First one is our upcoming online events once again. Next link is our help guide, and I'll be using this throughout the webinar here today, so this is just a reference for you to access it via the internet. If you ever need to access it within the platform, just press the F1 key on your keyboard, and it will open you up to that section of the help guide. So if you're viewing a chart, it'll actually bring you to the charting section of the help guide. Next link is your video library. This is a little bit different than the YouTube training videos link. The video library is actually located in the help guide and has specific videos for the sections that you would be in the help guide, such as charting. How do you create a chart? In the data series window, there would be a video for that as well. And of course, I'll provide that YouTube training videos link once again. Again, that's for our training webinars, tips and tricks conducted by ourselves as well as our partners, and those partner introduction webinars are also available there. You can also find our support forum at the following link. This is a great resource for information on NinjaTrader indicator strategies. And if you're getting into NinjaScript or already are into NinjaScript, it's a great resource for that as well. And that last link serves as a reminder there are some things you need to be aware of before you begin trading live with NinjaTrader, and that's the risks of electronic trading. That can also be found in the help guide at the top next to the video library, so you can always find it right there. And I see we already have a question in the room right before we get started, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. Anna, excuse me if I butchered that. Can I use Kinetic end of day in addition to my intraday data provider using a regular NinjaTrader license? You actually can. So if you're using the Kinetic end of day, it's really going to depend if you connect to it first or your data provider first and what instrument types they support. So do they support futures, equities, indexes, currencies? So actually there's a great link, there's great information on that. If we go to the NinjaTrader help guide, I'm going to go ahead and reproject my screen here. Take just a moment. We'll go ahead and get started with the webinar as well. I'm going to go ahead and minimize my screen, and this is the NinjaTrader Control Center. If you ever want to access the help guide without pressing F1, you can go to help and then help here on the Control Center. This will bring up your help guide. So go ahead and go to the configuration section. You'll see a connecting. I'll also put this link in the room. And then go to multiple connections. Now, we're not going to go over this here in the webinar, but this is where I would point you to look through to understand exactly how this works with multiple connections. And you can view 2 examples there. And then if you still have any questions on that and you just need a little more clarification, I'd like just go ahead and send a note to support@ninjatrader.com. Where we'd be more than happy to answer that question for you there. Let me provide you that link. It'll take just a moment to get that link in the room. All right, so I'll just pull it up on the internet since I don't have it readily available. Sorry for the delay, everyone. Just trying to get that into the room here. All right, so if you're on the NinjaTrader website, you can scroll up to the top and go to support. Go to the help guides, and I'll paste this link once again in the room. If you go to help guides and then go to we're going to the NinjaTrader help guide online, excuse me. Go to configuration, connecting, multiple connections. I'm just going to go ahead and copy that into the room. There you go. All right, we'll go ahead and continue on here. I'll have to reproject my screen. Take just a moment. Do appreciate everyone's patience here. And you should be seeing the NinjaTrader Control Center on your screen. All right, so our first step here for today's webinar, we're going to go ahead and go to File New, or excuse me, File Connect. Now, if you just downloaded NinjaTrader, you probably only notice 4 connections here: external data feed, kinetic end of day, market replay connection, and the simulated data feed. However, I have set up my own data feed for real-time data in here, and it is our preferred data feed provider, Kinetic. So I'm going to connect to that. If you're just now using it, you can still connect to kinetic end of day and set up daily charts here with everything I do here. So we're going to go ahead and connect to Kinetic real-time. Bottom left-hand corner, it shows connected in green. And we can see here we're getting live data for our instruments. All right. Next step here, if you'd like to open up a chart, go to File, New, and we'll go ahead and go to Chart. This window here is the data series window. You'll be seeing it a lot while you're creating charts. This window can also be accessed from within the chart after you create it. If you have any questions on the data series window, I highly recommend pressing that F1 key to open up the help guide. And if you notice, it brought me to the charting section and directly to working with price data. This is actually everything you would need to know about the data series window. If we take a look at this, we should have videos in here as well. So if you click that play video, it should take us to a video here. All right. So first step here, we need to select an instrument to actually add to the chart. So you can select from your default instrument list the Dow 30, the Forex, NASDAQ, and the S&P 100. If you select, or 500, excuse me. If you select the instrument, you'll notice it automatically populates in the top left-hand corner of the window in this little text entry. And then once it's in there, you can just press New down here. When you select New, you'll notice that the instrument is now in this bottom left-hand corner box. And on the right side of your screen, when you select one of these instruments, the information, the price data, is now available to be edited. So I can change how my chart's going to look over here. To remove one of these instruments, we just select Remove after we selected the instrument. 2 additional ways to look up an instrument is to type the instrument into this window. So I could type AAPL and then hit Enter. That would automatically drop it down to that window, and I'd have an Apple chart ready to go. I could edit my price data information and continue on. Now, continuing with that text entry, let's say there's an instrument that's not in NinjaTrader that you'd like to add in. A quick way to add in an instrument is just to type it into NinjaTrader. Takes a few seconds while it adds that in, and then now it adds it in there. Now it's going to add it in as an equity if you just type in that information there. If you need to add in, let's say, a currency or an index or Futures, you can always do that through the instrument manager as well. All right, let's say you can't find the instrument, you're not certain of what exactly would be the ticker symbol or the symbol in NinjaTrader. So what you can do is come up here to this search right here. It's next to the text entry. It's got 3 little dots on it. If you left click on that button, it brings up the instrument lookup window. And this window is pretty consistent with the instrument manager. So if you've been using that or you've even played around in there, you'll notice this looks a lot like the search menu in there as well. So from the type menu, you can search by the specific type. There's 4 available in NinjaTrader. That's currency, future, index, and stock. You can search by name if you know the name, or maybe, if you're just searching A, okay, well, I know it starts with an A, and then I could look through there, and it just is going to narrow it down by what begins with A. Another great way to search is description. One that I like to show people is when you're looking for the CL, that's light sweet crude future there. Let's say we just typed in oil there and hit enter. You'll notice that you can't see it there. Even if you typed in crude oil, it wouldn't come up. Now the reason this happens is the description search is specific to the description that's in NinjaTrader. So essentially what I like to do is get a little creative, try and think of other ways to, or other descriptions. You usually shouldn't have to do this. CL is a rare occurrence, but I recommend one-word searches. So if I did crude oil, you'll notice it didn't come up. But if I typed in crude, you'll see the CL right there. Now, once you've found the instrument you're looking for, you can just double click on the instrument. That adds it into that window again. And then once it's there, we just click new, and it's right there. All right, for today's example, for the most part, I'm going to be using the E-mini S&P June contract. You can use whatever instrument you'd like. Everything we do here is going to be across the board for each instrument. On the right side of your screen, or on the data series menu, you're going to notice 5 specific sections are going to be period, chart style, data, visual, and at the bottom, trades. Now, visual is going to be something we're actually going to cover across the board. A lot of these settings are going to be specific to drawing tools and indicators as well as the data series menu. So we're actually going to save this section until we get into multiple instruments and have indicators on our screen. This gives us a better idea of how exactly to use that section. The last section, being trades, doesn't really help us until we actually have trades on our screen. So we're going to save that until we get into the chart trader. So right now, let's just focus on 3 basic sections. That's going to be your period, your chart style, and your data sections. The period section allows you to select what price is based on. So is it ask, bid, or last? What type of period do you want to see on the screen? Is it a minute chart? Is it a tick chart? Is it a range or a Renko or a point and figure chart? You can select all those here. The value is the value of the chart, or the bar, I should say. So if I say 1 day, so the value is 1 and the type is day, that means that each bar is a 1-day bar. So if I went to a minute chart here and I typed in 60, every bar would be an hour. Below that, we have our chart style, and in that we have a chart style selection there. You have box, candlestick, high-low, line on close, and open high-low close. You can add additional ones if you've seen third parties in there, and they should provide you, any of our partners there that do supply those should provide you with instructions on how to add those in, but you can add in custom chart styles there. It's not supported in NinjaScript, but it is available if you take a look at it there. Available is bar width as well. That's just the width of the bar on your screen. Candle outline. A lot of these settings here you'll see throughout NinjaTrader, especially when it comes down to plots or lines or drawing tools. And a lot of these are going to come down to just basic things like color, dash style, and the width. Your candle outline isn't different from those, so of course it has those settings, as well as your wick for your candle. It has that as well. Sometimes the wick is called the shadow of the candlestick, so if that's what you're looking for there, it is the wick. And then of course you're going to have color for the up and down bars. One item I did see there was neutral for the open, high, low, close bar type or chart style. Someone actually had a color for neutral in there, and that was again a custom chart style. As you can see, this one only has up and down bars, which is pretty much across the board. Box right there has up and down bars as well. So below that section, you have your data type or your data section. So there's 3 settings here for loading your data based on. There's bars, days, and a custom range. Bars and days essentially work the same. Bars and days have a setting called either bars to load or days to load. Now, bars to load is how many bars on my chart. So with our 1 minute chart, if we selected 60 bars, I'd only have an hour's worth of data on my chart at any given time because I'd only have 60 bars on my chart. If you go to days to load, it's set to 5, so that's 5 days, of course. And then the important one on these for real-time data is making sure the end date is set to today. If it's not set to today, obviously you wouldn't be seeing today's data. The custom range is a little bit different because it offers a start date and an end date, so you can actually select within a range. Maybe you want to view historically a specific month or year. You can set that up there as well. Just make sure that end date, if you're looking for real-time data, is today's date. Session template, this question comes up a lot, and what exactly is it? Now, it doesn't actually change the session. What it does is it changes what data you're seeing on your screen. Now, let's take, for example, our E-mini S&P June contract. In NinjaTrader, the session template for this is the CME US Index Futures Extended Trading Hours, so the CME US Index Futures ETH. You can view what these session templates are from their start to their end times and what days of the week they show data, essentially, by going to the Tools menu in the Control Center and going down to the Session Manager. You can even create and edit your own session templates there as well. One of the more, some of the more popular ones, default 24/5, that's Monday through Friday, or 24/7, which is the whole week. We'll use 24/7 for our example here today. And at the bottom here, there is one last option, and that's one that we're going to be using a little bit later, and that's the load the following chart template. As you can see, I have no chart templates, so mine's set to none. If you just downloaded NinjaTrader, you should have none as well. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how to set those up here. So once we've set up a really basic chart here, we're just going to go ahead and click OK. And here is our chart. Very basic candlestick chart on our screen. Let's go ahead and go through navigating this chart. Once again, pressing the F1 key on your keyboard will bring you to the help guide, and we can go to navigating a chart right here. And a lot of these items we're going to cover are already listed in here, and there are videos for some of these as well. All right, a few links coming into the room now. Some items we covered, creating a chart as well as working with price data. And while we're on the subject, let's go ahead and cover navigating a chart and throw that link in there as well. Now, if you'd like to copy all the links that are in the room currently, you can right-click within the chat room, and there's a copy all chat history. You can then select that and paste it into a text file. You can do that at the end of the webinar or whenever you'd like, just to make sure you grab all those links that I've entered in the room. All right, so let's go ahead and just work from the top left to the right and going down. So we have at the very top of our chart the name of the instrument, so ES0613, the interval in parentheses, 1 minute, and then today's date, April 3rd, 2013. Now, if it's showing a previous date there to what your date is in your time zone, obviously you're not going to see the real-time data. And I'll show you that a little bit later as well. Below that, you have an instrument drop-down menu. Now, this is only the default instrument list, so you're only going to see what's in the default instrument list. I'll show you how to change instruments in a little bit as well. To the right of that is an interval drop-down menu. You're only going to see minute and daily based intervals listed there. Also, something like a 4-minute chart is not, you couldn't select that from this drop-down menu. You couldn't select tick-based intervals such as range or Renko either. And of course, I'm going to show you how to change those either through the data series menu and through just typing in your chart. To the right of that, we can change our chart style. We can change it to box, line on close, whatever we'd like to change it to right there. There's also bar spacing and width available there. To the right of that, drawing tools, really big item. I'm not going to get into something like Fibonacci retracements just yet, but something I'd like to show you, or actually we'll go ahead and cover that right now, but let's take a look at the snap mode. There's 3 specific settings for snap mode. That's bar, price, and bar and price. So as I work through some of this, we're just going to use the bar. Another item is stay in draw mode, and we're just going to go ahead and use a line here. So if you click on your drawing tools menu, you should have a line, or you can just press F2 on your keyboard. So selecting my line, you should notice your cursor changes to a pin. When you left click, That's your first anchor point for a line. Some objects have more than 2 anchor points. As I drag or just move my cursor, you don't actually have to left click and drag. Just left click once and then you can just move your cursor without holding that left click. Now as I move this, notice that it's snapping to the bars. So each bar, so it's not in the middle of the bar or on the side of the bar. It's actually on the bar's actual time for this time-based chart. So that's the snap mode of bar. If you go back in here and go to snap mode price and then go to line again, you'll notice that it snaps to price. So I'm going to left click down here and over here, just look how it's snapping to 25, 50, 75, 56, 56, 25, and 50. Just like that, it automatically snaps to it. Now combining both of these by snap mode of bar and price, watch what happens now. I'm going to left click up here about 1556 and a quarter, but my anchor point did not appear there. It actually appeared about 1555.25 if I'm right, which I believe I am. And then as I move across, notice it's not where my pin is on my cursor, but actually just the bar and the price. So it's within the bar and the price. All right. Again, you could just press F2 rather than consistently going back to that menu. An easier way to do this, I'm going to change my snap mode by the way, back to bar, is to stay in your draw mode. So when you press that F2, you can just consistently draw your arrows without having to go back and select whatever line you want. To exit out of draw mode, just press escape on your keyboard. All right, another option here is the Fibonacci retracements. This item comes up a lot. A lot of people want to know, how do you set your own template for the Fibonacci's? So I'm going to select that Fibonacci retracement. I'm going to go ahead and left click for my first anchor point and drag up and select the second anchor point. Now the values here by default are 0, 23.6, 38.2. I can't really see that honestly on my end here. So I'm going to just double click on the diagonal line that runs through this drawing tool. Or if you left click once and then right click again, you can access the properties. This works for all drawing tools. So even one of those lines that are on my chart, I can select that and then right click in properties. A lot of the drawing tools have a lot of the same settings. Fibonacci retracement is going to be one of those ones where you don't have the same settings as all the other drawing tools. It's unique because it is the Fibonacci retracement. So if we take a look again, that's 0, 23, 38, 50, 61, 76, and 0, or 100. What I'd like to do here is show you how to set up your own Fibonacci, like whatever lines you would like. So I'm just going to remove these 2 lines here by unchecking these checkboxes. I'm going to leave 0, 100, but I'm going to set up a 25, 50, and a 75. Just like that. All right, in the next step here, I also want to make my 0 and my 100 lines stand out from the others. So I'm going to set their color and their width to be different. And I'm just going to leave those there as solid. But let's go ahead and change the other ones to maybe a dot, so they don't stand out as much as my 0 and my 100. Other lines down here is the text. You can actually remove the text that you see here if you don't want it. Extend the lines right and left. I like that one. And then here's 2 options, I should say, that are very specific to all drawing objects. And that's going to be lock, meaning I can't left click and move the Fibonacci around after I've placed it, and auto scale. Auto scale is actually something that you'll see in the visual section of the data series menu that we didn't cover. You'll also see it in indicators as well. Any object that can be applied to a panel in your chart has an auto scale property. And what that means is automatic scaling versus, and the other option is going to be fixed scaling. I'll show you that in a little bit. Let's go ahead and set this to auto scale, and I'll leave lock right there. So once you've set this up, you'll also notice at the bottom you have attach to, which will allow you to attach it to multiple charts if you want, or a template setting. Let me move that up a little bit. And there's a template. So default is the only template available, and that's just that 0 through the 100 that we saw earlier. But what you can do is right-click in your Fibonacci retracement properties window and select Manage Templates. This allows you to create your own template. So I can name it Charting Level 1 and click Save. And then whenever I go to create a Fibonacci retracement, I can simply just draw the Fibonacci retracement and then go to its Properties menu and select the template Charting Level 1. Now you may want to just consistently draw the same template. You don't want to keep coming back and changing the templates. What you can do is once you've set up your template the way you want, is you can set it as the default by actually naming the template default. Then click Save. It's going to ask you to confirm this setting, and you click OK. Click OK, and now every single time I draw a Fibonacci retracement, it's got those same settings. And you notice how it's auto scale. Watch this. I'm going to left click down here at 1255, about 1252, or I'm sorry, 1552.5. Now as I move my cursor down, notice that it scales the chart. If I move it up, it scales the chart as well. That's automatic scaling in effect. And what that is the highest and lowest objects on my chart. So if I make the Fibonacci retracement the highest object, it's going to scale the chart appropriately. All right, well, I got a lot of junk on my chart, and it's not helpful. So if you'd like to remove a drawing object, left click on the drawing object or the diagonal line here for the Fibonacci retracement and just select delete on your keyboard. Or you can right click and actually select remove. But you're going to notice if I wanted to remove each line on my chart, it's going to take me a little bit of time to do that. So what you can do is go to the Drawing Tools menu, go down to Remove Drawing Objects, and you'll notice this handy window here. It's going to allow me to select what I want to remove. Do I want to remove lines, Fibonacci retracements, or select everything? I'm just going to remove the lines to show you what that looks like, and click OK. So now we don't have the lines anymore. All right, let's remove everything now. Continuing on the right hand, or to the right of the Drawing Tools menu on the toolbar at the top, you should have a zoom in function. When you left click on it, it does nothing, but you'll notice your cursor on the chart is changed to a magnifying glass. You can then left click and drag to select a region and release, and it's then zoomed in on that specific region of the chart. Every time you zoom in, you have a level that you can zoom out. So zoom out becomes available. As you zoom out, you'll notice you can only zoom out as much as you've zoomed in. So how do you view more bars on your chart? I'll show you that once we start moving the chart. To the right of that is your cursor option. So you have pointer, crosshair, and global crosshair. I really prefer the crosshair because it shows me the time and the price that my cursor's at. Global crosshair, when you enable that on one chart, you're probably not going to notice anything different. But let's go ahead and bring back up our control center, access our file menu, new, and chart. Let's go ahead and add another ES June contract, and this time let's change our type to, let's say, a smaller time frame, such as a tick. Let's do a 600 tick chart, or whatever you'd like to do, and then click OK. Now this chart appeared off screen. I'm going to adjust my windows here so that we can see all my charts here. And if you weren't aware, you can adjust, just like any window in the Windows operating system, you can adjust it just as you would for NinjaTrader as well. All right, so what we're looking at here is a 600 tick chart on the right and a 1 minute tick chart on the left. Now, if on the left-hand one, the 1 minute, we have global crosshair. On the other one, we don't. But if we go to our cursor options and select global crosshair, now you should see the crosshair on both of these. Now, if I go to my minute chart, watch what happens when I go to the far left. It should actually move my chart. So if you move your one chart, it moves the other chart. All right. So I'm just going to close that and just use the crosshair for the rest of the example here. To the right of the cursor option, you have a data box. Left clicking on this will bring up the data box, and then as you move across your chart, you'll see the price, open, high, low, close, and volume. Any indicators added to your chart are also shown in here. You have a property in visual to change that if you don't want items to be shown in the data box. A mini data box can be seen as well that quickly appears and then disappears depending on, if you're holding down your middle mouse button or not. So if you go ahead and just left click, middle mouse button, push and hold it down, and that's your scroll wheel, by the way, you'll see this mini data box. When you let go, it's gone. So you don't always have the data box on your screen. To the right of the data box menu, you have your chart trader. Now, if you left click on this chart trader and you don't see the chart trader appear, there's actually a few reasons that could occur. First item is it's hidden. And you can see I did that with that arrow right there on the top right-hand corner. It's an up or a down arrow. Down when it's hidden, up when it's not hidden. Also, you could have an automated NinjaScript strategy running on your chart. If you do, you can't enable the chart trader. And that also works vice versa. Go ahead and take a look at your toolbar, and you should notice the strategies menu is disabled when your chart trader is enabled. Another item that could affect you being able to even click on that chart trader option is that you're using a direct addition license key. Now, those are free license keys that allow you to trade live, but they don't allow you to use all the features of NinjaTrader, one of those being chart trader. Those are usually, if you don't have a direct addition license key, don't worry about it. If you have a live license key or the simulated license key, you have access to all these features. All right, to the right of that is our data series menu, and you'll remember that from earlier. To the right of the data series, we have our indicators menu. Now, indicators and strategies menu work a lot alike. In fact, they're pretty similar. The only difference is the strategy, well, there's a lot of differences, but the strategies menu also has an enabled. So if you don't set that to true, then your strategy is not enabled. But you'll notice it's really similar to the data series menu. So we select an item from our list on the top left-hand corner. I'm going to select a simple moving average. So just our SMA, and then you left-click New. So that works pretty much like the data series menu. Now on the right-hand side of the screen, you're going to notice data and visual again. Visual has been minimized because I minimized that earlier, if you remember. So let's go ahead and expand that one out now. At the top, you have a parameter, and parameters, I should say, because each indicator is going to be different. You're going to have different parameters you can set. So if we go to period, period's pretty common, especially with the moving averages. You know, that's the number of bars used for the calculations. So if I want a 21 moving average or a 20 moving average, whatever it is, I need to enter that in the period. Below that is data. One item that comes up a lot you should be aware of is calculate on bar close. If I set that to true, what do you think that would do visually on your chart? I'm just going to go ahead and show you here, and then we'll show you calculate on bar close equals false. But essentially, true means it's calculating on the close of a bar. False means it calculates on each incoming tick. And visually, there's a difference there, and I'll show it to you. Input series. You can actually select if you had, let's say we had an additional instrument or interval on my chart, I could actually select that as my input series. I can also select another indicator as my input series. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like when I select the EMA. So once I select that EMA, it shows me the period and the input series for the EMA. So in this case, I would just set, whatever period I wanted for the EMA and then my input series for that, which is most likely going to be the ES, and that could be my input series for my simple moving average. Below that, you have your maximum bars look back period. So only two settings here. Infinite, which can be taxing on your PC, let's just say that, especially the CPU and the memory, and 256, which is the PC-friendly one. If you need more than 256 bars to calculate your indicator, you can set it to infinite, but be aware of that. It can increase, PC performance. Or not increase it, but, halter or have an effect on PC performance. All right, so let's take a look at visual. This is the first time, if you're new to NinjaTrader, that you've seen the visual section or played with it, unless you've already done it on your own. Auto scale, remember that from our Fibonacci's. It's right there on the indicators. It's a big item when it comes to indicators. Displacement is, you may be wondering, what does displacement do? Or you may not be wondering, but visually it's a big difference. Now, when you set this to maybe 1 or 2 or 3, whatever the setting is, you may think, oh no, it's now calculating 5 bars back, and it's not. The best example is if you had a chart that you physically drew on a piece of graph paper, let's just say, and then you took a piece of trace paper and put it over that chart, and then plotted the moving average or whatever study you want to look at. You plotted that up to the current bar on your chart, and then what you did is you just moved it, let's say 5 bars back. So we moved it 5 bars back, the trace paper. Now it's still a calculation of the, all the way to the current bar. It's not the calculation from the 5th bar back. It's just moved 5 bars back for displacement visually. So that's what that one does. And there's that display and data box. You'll remember that from earlier. Labels are, these are across the board with data series and indicators and strategies. You can actually change what it looks like. So I could type in simple. Now watch what happens when I type in simple. And then I click on another option. Right here, it's now changed to say simple. That's fine. Now, as I change indicators, it may change itself, but if I ever changed, or especially with the data series, the instruments, if I ever put them in quotation marks, see what that does there? It puts it just as whatever I listed it as. But if you did something like, let's say you did it with the ES, but you named it, S&P in quotation, then you changed your instrument to the NASDAQ. At the top of the NASDAQ chart, it would still say it was the S&P 500. The reason that is you put the label in quotation marks. For NinjaTrader, that tells it, I want this specific panel to be this specific label. So that's what you've done there. So in this case, I'm just going to leave it as the SMA, but keep that in mind. The panel, and there it is, same as your input series or a new panel. All the panels listed will be there. Price markers, that's the price on the right side, listed right here. And your scale justification. I'm going to get into that when we have multiple instruments on our chart. And below that, you have plots. Looks a lot like your lines in your Fibonacci retracement. So you have color, dash style, plot style, and your width all listed there. I'm going to change mine just a little bit, make it a little bigger on the screen. I'll set it to 5 for width. And then we'll go ahead and click OK. Now remember, before I click OK, calculating bar close is set to true. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So here's my 20-period moving average on my ES 0613. Look right here. It's calculating on the last bar. Now the reason that is the last bar has closed. The current bar has not closed. So if you go back into indicators and set this calculate on bar close to false, click OK, it's now on the current bar, and it'll actually move with each incoming tick as it calculates. Calculate on bar close equals false. If you have multiple instruments, and I mean multiple indicators as well, all set to calculate on bar close equals false, each time you get an incoming tick from your data feed provider, all of those indicators have to calculate or recalculate on that incoming tick. So if you had multiple indicators, especially custom ones, anything outside, even the NinjaTrader indicators that come preloaded in NinjaTrader, if you had several of those with false, your memory usage is going to go up. Your CPU usage is going to go up in that instance. So keep that in mind as you're trying to preserve PC performance. If you have questions on PC performance, there's actually a great article or some items to cover. When you press the F1 key on your keyboard, go up to your configuration, and right there is performance tips. If we take a look at charting, some of those items I've already mentioned, you have your calculate on bar close, and it doesn't list the, let's go to NinjaScript here. No, it doesn't list the 256 versus infinite for maximum bars look back, but keep that in mind. If you set it to infinite, it is taxing. It can be taxing. Strategies menu is pretty much the same. To the right of the strategies menu is your properties menu. Before we get into the properties and start setting things, I'd like to show you how to actually move through the chart. You notice at the bottom of your chart you have a scroll bar. You can just left click on that and drag it to wherever you'd like. It very quickly moves, easy to use. You can also left click within the chart and be a little more specific. Left click and drag to the right, and it's a little slower as you move through. Now as I move through from left to right, you should notice that my chart is pretty much focusing on these bars. So right now, let's take a look at 1566 and 2 ticks, 0.5 at the top. At the bottom is 1556.5. So from 66 to 56, so a 10 point here. My lowest object on my chart and my highest object on my chart. As I move to the left, notice the scaling on the right side of the chart is changing. This is what's called automatic scaling. So automatic scaling, auto scale. You remember that from the indicator, the drawing tools, and if you right click and go to data series, go to your visual section right there, auto scale. Now auto scale is going to be set to true, and you can't change it if you only have one object on the chart, being your instrument. It will not let you change it to false because that wouldn't make any sense. But I have an indicator and an instrument, so it's going to allow me to set that. All right, and that's just automatic scaling. Now, when you're behind the current price, you should notice a black triangle at the top right-hand corner. Left click on that, it brings you right back to the current price. Now, if I wanted to view more bars on my chart, I mentioned this before about zooming out. Just left click not on the scroll bar and not on your chart, but where the time is listed. So where it's like 9:50, 10, 10, 10 here for me. Left click on that and drag it to the right. I see additional bars on my chart. And if I drag it to the left, I see less bars on my chart. So it's up to you how you want to do that. Now, if I wanted to move up or down on my chart, first I can do this. Let's say I had the chart trader enabled, and I wanted to place an order here. And to place an order with the chart trader, you're going to right click, and you'll notice at that level you'll see the sell and the buy orders you can place. So if I wanted to reach a different level to submit an order, I could left click on the price level here and just drag it down or up. If I drag it down, it's going to make everything really small, and then I can reach different points on that price. If I drag it up, it makes it like essentially kind of zooms in on the bar visually on that like lengthwise, so it makes it really tall. And when we do this, as we move through our charts, you should notice that it is not automatically scaling, and now I can't see any bars on my chart. If you click the black triangle there, it brings you back to the current price, but it still looks incorrect. I could sit here and try to adjust this, and looks like about got it there, but as I move through, it's still doing it again. So to change that, we have a little F at the top. Now the F indicates we're not in automatic scaling, we're in a fixed scaling. So if I click on the F, I'm back to automatic scaling. You can also set this easily by right-clicking on the price column, not in the chart or on the chart trader, but where the price is listed, right-click on that and select Properties. Within Properties, you have Range, Automatic, and Fixed. Fixed allows us some additional options such as you can actually set the value. So if I set 1600 for my maximum and 1500 for my minimum and click OK, it does exactly that, and then I can click the F to go back to automatic scaling. All right, let's get into properties here. I'm going to right-click in my chart and go down to the properties menu. Any property you have in here, and if you want to play with it, just set it to a different setting, such as transparent, and click apply. We can see here the color from my axis is obviously where the price and time are listed. I'm going to set that to black. Additional options here, such as your grid lines. I like to set these to false, and again, they have their own sections if you expand for color, dash style, and width. Below here, show chart trader, show your scroll bar, show your toolbar. I like to set those to false. And my color for my background, I'm going to set this to black. And then if I click apply, a few changes happen to my chart. I can't see the wick, the outline, and the axis. So if I come in here and change the axis to white, I can then see the axis, but I'm not going to be able to see, there's no setting in the properties for your wick and your outline. So what you can do is right click and go into the data series menu, and you'll see it listed in here. Now, while we're in the data series menu, I want to show you that you can add additional instruments to your chart. To do this, select the instrument as you would as if you're creating a new chart, and then click New. You can then adjust any of the values you wish for it, just like that. So you can set it to a second chart, just like you would with any other instrument, and then click OK, and it's actually added to your chart. Now, there's an easier way to do this just by typing into your chart. So if I type 1D into my chart and then hit enter, it actually changes from a 1-minute chart to a 1-day chart. I can also go to a tick chart, let's say 150 tick, just type 150T. You don't need to hold any special keys, just literally type into your chart. So if you type hello, it literally puts hello on your chart. If you hit enter, it's going to tell you that's not an instrument, but you can type that in. You can go to things like a range chart, 4R, but if you think about it, not only does range start with an R, but Rinko starts with an R. So if you wanted an 8 Rinko, you could type in 8RE, enter, changes your interval. Let's go back to our minute chart. You should notice that the outline and the wick are back to black, which makes what we did just kind of nullified. So we're going to right-click and go to Data Series. Come back in here and set our candle outline to white and our wick to white. Right click once you've set those and set it as the default for your minute type. Now whenever you change these intervals, it's not going to change the outline and the wick for the minute. All right, so you can also change the instrument. Just you need to type in the instrument. Futures are going to be the most complicated. NQ space 0613. If you hit enter, that's going to change it to the NASDAQ chart. If I go back to my ES chart, I can add in another instrument by pressing the plus button on my keyboard and then typing in the instrument. So now I have an Apple chart, and you'll notice it took the 1 minute from the ES. So we have 1 minute ES, and it emulated that just by taking that 1 minute. Again, left click on those and select delete on your keyboard to remove them. If you add in, you can also change the interval that's added. So if I did NQ 0613 and did 150T and hit enter, you would notice it's a 150 tick chart. So also notice, let's take a look at these bars a little closer here. If you look at your tick chart, it doesn't matter if it's the same instrument or not. You'll notice that the ticks are off, or not off, but they're not aligned to the 1 minute chart. So if you take a look at that, you see how these bars are just smushed together. Now in the properties menu, there's actually a setting for this called the equidistance bar spacing. It's currently set to false and you can't change it. The reason that is you have multiple instruments on your chart, multiple intervals on your chart. So what's happening here is at the bottom of your chart, it's based on time. Your 1 minute chart is based on time. It's completely fine. It makes sense. But that tick chart that you added in is not based on time. A tick chart is based on ticks, meaning from 1 tick to 150 ticks, that's the bar. Whether that takes 1 second, 12 hours, 6 days, that's the bar. So it's not based on time. So if we take a look at this bar here at about 10:43, yeah, that bar close is 10:44. You come down here, take a look. There's, I believe, a bar for 10:43.41 and 10:43.59. Those two bars would be in the 10:44 1 minute bar. That's so. To clarify, on the 1 minute bars, that's actually the close time, not the beginning of the bar. For the tick chart as well as the close time. So those two bars are actually in the 10:44 bar. But if you just go to a tick chart, it's not going to do that if it's the only chart. All right, so what I'm going to do here is just add in a 10 minute, just plus 10M, and hit enter. This is going to be my ES 10 minute. I'm going to left click on the 10 minute. And you'll notice the anchor points are little, black squares appear. In this case, they're white because my background is black. And then I can left click and drag, and you should notice your cursor changes to a document with a graph on it, and then just drop it on the chart. You can drop it anywhere on the chart, really. You could drop it below to have it below. You could drop it above to have it above the 1 minute. You can even drop it on the left or the right. If I drop it on the left, it overlays on the left. If I drop it on the right, it overlays on the right, or scale justification is right. But it doesn't really help me because it's a 1 minute and 10 minutes. So what I'd like to do is go to my data series menu, come to my 10 minute right here, and you'll see it's now added into the data series window, and change from a candlestick chart to a box chart and click OK. Now you notice I can't really see all the 1 minute bars. So what you can do when you have multiple objects on your chart is left click on them and not drag and move them around, but hold the shift key on your keyboard. So we're left clicking on an instrument or an indicator or a drawing tool, it doesn't matter, holding shift down on our keyboard and using the scroll wheel on our mouse to scroll up. And you should notice it says level 1 of 3. If you scroll down, or up, it'll go to level 3 of 3. So now we move that box style behind the current bar, or behind everything else on the chart. All right, so my next step here, we can actually save this as a template. If we go to templates and save as, we can set it as the default if we want, but in this case I'm just going to save it as charting level 1 and click OK. Now I can open new charts and just apply this template to them by right clicking and selecting templates and load, and then charting level 1, and it loads my template. In most cases, the Z order should be saved, so let's try that again. Templates, save as, and click OK. You can also just close your chart reopen your, open up your control center, go to File, New, Chart, select any instrument you want, and then apply your new chart template. Now, if you did everything I just did, I know I did it kind of quick. Essentially what I did is I just selected one instrument and clicked OK for my template. And you should get the same message if you set up a template similar to mine. And that's this. The Charting Level 1 template requires 2 data series. So what it means is I need 2 instruments on my chart. I had an ES 1 minute and a 10 minute. So I'm going to change this one to 10 minutes as well and click OK. Now what we get is pretty much the exact same chart. It's just a NASDAQ chart rather than an E-mini S&P. All right, last item here. We're going to, because if you remember, there's a data series section we didn't yet focus on. Go ahead and right-click in your chart. Let's go to Properties. Scroll down and set your Show Chart Trader to True and click OK. All right. And on the screen, I see no Chart Trader. Does anyone know why I don't see the Chart Trader on the screen? If you do, go ahead and just insert the answer into the room. Just type it into the room. All right, I don't see any answers coming in. There's a few reasons that it could be that I'm not seeing the chart trader. In this case, it's because I have it hidden. Remember the arrow up here? So it's set to down, so it's hidden. All right. Now, as I move through this, I'm not going to go into detail on how to submit orders here. If you did have a question on that, you can actually view our chart trader webinar video. And if you'd like to take a look at our upcoming online events, you can do that at the following link as well. But coming to our chart here, what I'm going to do is just buy and sell really quickly. I want to show you this here. All right, so what I've done here is opened and closed several positions. We take a look at this on our chart. We have double, essentially. We have on our 1 minute chart, we have all the information for these trades, and so do we on our 10-minute chart. To change this, if you remember the last data series section we didn't cover, right-click in your chart and go to data series is the trade section. And that's way at the bottom here, right there. Click that expand section. And now we can change these. Now there's colors for your buys, your sells. There's colors and dash styles for your NinjaScript strategy being profitable or unprofitable. For this case, I'm just going to show you plot executions. Now, for the 1 minute chart, I don't even want to see the trades. So I'm just going to set that to do not plot and then click OK. So now you can see it's only plotting on the 10-minute chart now. What I'd also like to do is right-click, go into my data series menu, go to my 10-minute chart, and set its trades to only the markers, because I don't need the text on the screen. I can always view that in the Account Performance tab of the NinjaTrader Control Center, and there, or the Executions tab. And there's just the markers right there. And I can look at my chart again, and I don't have a lot of data just accumulating on the right side, distracting me from the current price. All right, that is all the time we have here today. I would like to thank everybody for their time here today. NinjaTrader has a vast ecosystem of add-on partners and trading educators. Today's event was sponsored by David Bean with Capstone Trading Systems. He will be conducting a webinar on developing a portfolio of trading systems at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Thursday, April 4th, so tomorrow. If you're interested in attending this event, you can learn more about the event at the following link. This is our Learn More link once again. And this will take you directly to that event. You can learn more about it and even register. Again, these are completely free events. The next, NinjaTrader is a growing business, and word-of-mouth advertising is extremely helpful in allowing us to keep our subscription fees low. So if you do see value in the products and the services we offer, we appreciate any mentions of our company in any discussion boards or trading rooms you use, as well as with any friends, family, or colleagues who may be trading at this time. For those of you that need to get going, I'd like to thank you all for your time here today. We realize a trader's time is their most valuable asset, so I want to thank everybody for spending their time here today with NinjaTrader. I'd also once again like to remind you of our premium education. You can find these events at the following link. Thank you all for joining me here today. I'd like to wish you all a great rest of your day and good luck trading.